Hello Digimon fans! So in our last video we unboxed two starter decks which included ST9 Ultimate Ancient Dragon. Yes, this starter features Paildramon and Dinobeemon, and it also brings us a new mechanic called Jogress. Yep, so we've talked about how Jogress works in the last video, so today we shall see how Jogress affects deck building.
Paildramon and Dinobeemon are both level 5 Digimon. So, since we need to have one blue level 4 and one green level 4 to Jogress into them, our main focus of this deck is to get them level 4s out as early as possible. That's why an ST9, XVmon, and Stingmon can reduce their play cost by 1. That actually makes them 3 cost summons, which is the cheapest you can get for a level 4 Digimon. It puts them on par with Paildramon, Tobyumon, Gesomon, Gokimon, and Parasaurmon. Well, all these are also good choices for this deck as well. Pair them up with Motomiya Daisuke, and Jogressing will be easy peasy. Well, basically Motomiya Daisuke guarantees you 3 memory at the start of your turn. This means that if you got the Digimon in your breeding area set up at level 4, you can move it out the next turn, play a low cost level 4 of the corresponding color, and hey presto! Since Jogressing into Paildramon and Dinobeemon is essentially free, you can Jogress and attack during that turn. What's even cooler is that since Jogressing unsuspends your Digimon and resets once per turn effects, you can use EX1 XVmon, then pair him up with BT3 Chibimon. You can attack once, then Jogress. And if you Jogress into Paildramon, that essentially gives you 3 hits that turn. Ain't that a pretty cool combo? That said, even if you unsuspend when you Digivolve via Jogress, it doesn't exactly count as unsuspending your Digimon during the main phase. So in that case, you won't be able to activate BT2 Vmon's inherited effect. That said, it's still a decent addition since you can restand using Paildramons when attacking effect. Well, other than BT2 Vmon, other level 3s you should add in are BT3 Vmon, which allows you to rush your opponent's security early on, as well as ST9 Vmon, which is a searcher. ST9 Wormmon is also a great addition. Well, personally, I feel that it's the most important level 3 in this deck, because it allows you to Jogress at the end of the turn. So, let's say you only manage to Digivolve your Digi-Egg into Wormmon the last turn. You can push it out in the next turn, Digivolve it to level 4, then play another low cost level 4, causing the memory to cross to your opponent's side. So instead of worrying that either one of your level 4s getting wiped out by your opponent, you can Jogress before passing the turn on. In fact, you can even steal a hit if you Digivolve your Wormmon into an EX1 XVmon. And now we come to Megas. Since Paildramon and Dinobeemon are the main attackers of your deck, you don't actually need a Mega. Well, yeah, I've seen a few decks without them, but personally I would prefer to have them just in case. For this deck, the best Mega to go with is ST9 Imperialdramon. Well, why? Partly it's because it's Imperialdramon. It kind of fits with the team. Well, that's actually not all. It's also because it can play level 4 Digivolution cards from under it. But wait, there are other Digimon which can do that as well, right? Like Duffmon, which can even grant your Digimon jamming. There's also BT1 Metagarurumon, which has lower costs. Well, I mean, the reason why I chose Imperialdramon is not because it is Imperialdramon. The thing is, Imperialdramon plays one blue level 4 Digimon and one green level 4 Digimon. So if you actually reach level 5 via Jogressing, you're more or less guaranteed to have these 2 cards in your Digivolution card. And it also means that you can Jogress onto them right off the bat if it's still your turn. Pretty cool, huh? You can also put in BT3 Super Rare Imperialdramon, but then honestly, I don't really think a secondary Mega is needed. Your main attackers will be ST9 Paildramon and ST9 Dinobeemon, and this deck is pretty consistent and fast, so you usually don't have to worry about them not being big enough. Plus, Digivolving into ST9 Paildramon would also allow you to have some form of board control anyway, so you can disrupt your opponents from building their board. That said, if you want a secondary Mega for this deck, this card is probably your best bet. It fits in the jamming team this deck has, allowing you to unsuspend other jamming Digimon in your team, as well as having jamming itself. Hence, you will need EX1 XVmon under it to get that draw one via Chibimon's inherited effect. Well, what about the secret rare Imperialdramon? Frankly speaking, it's kind of mediocre. And the lack of suspending effects and DP boost in this deck means you're not actually supporting it well. So while there aren't really a lot of downsides in using it, it's pretty redundant as well. Same goes for EX1 Imperialdramon. It's also kind of mediocre as well, so even if it fits in the free team of this deck, but the impact isn't too big actually. Of course, if you have EX1 XVmon in your Digivolution cards, it's still another attack protected by jamming, and it will get its DP boosted up to 13,000 as well, since you definitely will have blue and green Digimon under it, so I guess there are no downsides as well. Other cards you might want to include in this deck includes BT1 Tachikawa Mimi. Well, I personally don't play it, but through my many matches of playtesting, I felt that it does have potential to help you flip the board. You can even use it consistently, since ST9 Paildramon, ST9 Dinobeemon, and ST9 Imperialdramon all fulfill the criteria of a level 5 or higher green Digimon. BT3 Paildramon is also another decent addition for that extra boost in games where you might find it hard to build 2 lines of Digimon. It also only costs 3 memory to digivolve into, meaning you can have a quick hit after digivolving, if you have a memory tamer to set the memory at 3 that is. For options, Megadeth is a must-have. I just can't imagine how many times it managed to pull me out of some sticky situation. Well, having it activate from the security is the best, but using it from hand isn't too bad as well, since it only costs 5 memory. That said, having 2 will be enough, as this deck is fast enough to avoid getting into such sticky situations too often. Another option you definitely need in this deck is Ice Wall. Hey, wait a minute, didn't I say Ice Wall wasn't necessary in my Magnagarumon video? Well, frankly speaking, it isn't that crucial in that deck because it has quite a lot of board control that can stop your opponents from attacking. But for this deck, we've got no blockers, and the only form of board control, well, I mean stuff that can actually stop your opponents when they have big cards. So it doesn't include Paildramon's measly 6000 DP removal. So as I was saying, the only form of board control is Dinobeemon. So yes, Ice Wall is definitely needed. But is it necessary to play that for? Personally I find 3 to be good enough, unless you are really unlucky. Which kinda did happen to me once. But just once. I had 2 Ice Wall in security, but while I managed to use 1, it still wasn't enough to thwart my opponent. Other than these, some people also run Hammer Spark, but I feel with DigiCa out early, memory isn't too much of an issue. You'd also have to balance the number of options and the number of Digimon cards to make sure you don't consistently end up with a starting hand of 5 options. So, here is my personal deck list. I decided to have 7 blue level 4s and 7 green level 4s so that I can consistently pull out both colors. I tried to 8-4 ratio previously, with 8 blue level 4s and 4 green level 4s, and the results were pretty bad. Also, I only have 14 rookies to go with 14 champions. This is basically because other than EX1 XVmon, every other level 4 can be played for just 3 memory. So that kinda lessens the need to digivolve up from level 3. That said, it's still important to have enough rookies so you don't miss out on the free draws.
So who's excited to build their own Imperial deck? Frankly speaking, I feel that Jogress is pretty big and impactful, and I can really see it being meta moving forward. So what about you? Have you built your own blue-green Jogress deck? Or have you tried out my own deck list? Yep, let me know in the comments. Hit me up. Let me know, what you think about the deck list, or whether you've got a better one, or how do you feel about, Imperial decks. And yeah, I mean, they've kind of been pretty useful since its introduction in BT3. Yep, it got some minor upgrades here and there. Yeah, so this one is a pretty major one. Yep, so just let me know your thoughts. Hit me up in the comments, and also don't forget to like and subscribe. Well, that's all from me today. Thank you very much for watching. See ya!